Hey guys, back for the third and final part of this presentation. I was hoping to make this into smaller clips for the format, but well, it seems I have a tendency to ramble a bit when I go off script. So, oops. But this is the third perspective, and I'd call this the transformative or the transcendent perspective. It is certainly the one that could take you the furthest, but it's also going to be the most difficult, and I certainly have not gotten to here yet, but I can start to see where it may lead. And this is basically on the question of what can I do to help? So when you're dealing with someone who is stressing you out, or there's anger management issues, etc., what can you do to help the situation? The two greatest examples that I've encountered of people who are able to rise above and transform the stress of the world around them into something beautiful that helped other people were Mr. Rogers and Uncle Iroh of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And those two guys were saints, effectively, even if one of them is entirely fictional. And someday I hope I can get close to that, or even to there. Anger has a way of spreading out into the world, and when we get mad at something or someone, we have a tendency to share it with others. We take it out on someone else who, well, anger gets shared, so they're going to take it out on someone else, and the cycle continues. The attitude that we're talking about here takes that frustration, turns it around, shapes it into something else, and gives it back to the other person. Now, from that, because positive emotions also get shared, they may have had a lot of anger and frustration, and you've now transformed that and given them something else to go out into the world with. This reaction goes against our natural inclinations. Most of us, when we're upset, we're wanting to fight fire with fire, and unfortunately that doesn't really get us where we're wanting to go. And if you take the attitude from the very first video, well, yeah, you avoid the conflict for a while at least, but that can lead to other problems later on. The attitude of denying the battle in the second video prevents conflict by being selective in what you engage in. This level reverses the conflict. Now, it may be that the person giving you grief is missing something in how they view the situation. They may be acting out in such a way because they just don't know any better. Strong emotions tend to blind us and regress us. They're going to narrow our focus, and there's also the question of, have we ourselves given all the relevant information? May there be something we've done or did not do that is causing this person to be upset with us? And yeah, that does go back to a lot of what other anger management folks teach of relevancy and such like, but again, there are times when that is correct, when maybe a mistake has been made and it just needs to be corrected. Cecily Summers, in her book Think Like a Futurist, says that behind every complaint is a request not yet spoken. Everyone is struggling with something. It could be insecurities or frustrations. They're just common issues that happen for everybody. And they get worse when we're agitated. If you can see what is wrong and speak to it appropriately, then you can help the other person and maybe even gain a friend. At the very least, you're going to stop the cycle of anger, at least for that person. And that will ripple out into the world, even if you don't see it. Managing your emotions is one of the first steps to achieving your goals, whether those are goals in your personal life or something professionally. We're all striving to be better versions of ourselves. In pursuing our goals, we are very often going to be frustrated, and usually this frustration will be directed at someone else. When you set a baseline for dealing with stress, especially stress that comes from someone else, you are less likely to be surprised and irritated because you don't know how to respond. At the very least, you'll know, I don't want to make this worse. Every day counts. Be the hero you are, and I will see you next week.